I got hired on my 4 times 10 work schedule where I worked 10-hour shifts. 4 days a week I had to do this so I could work and attend my college classes at the same time. I both worked in person and attended college classes in person. So I got myself a 4 times 10 work schedule in order to make it to both work and school. Everything was going fine until I reached my 90-day probation period. After reaching my 90 days, the manager told me that we are doing required Mando days. I asked my manager, what are Mando days? My manager looked at me and said, Mando days are required overtime. You are required to come into work on your usual days off in order to help production. Since you don't work Wednesdays and Thursdays, you are now required to come into work both those days. You must work Wednesdays and Thursdays now. I was sad, demoralized, and devastated. This is because I was now working a 6-day week schedule when I was originally hired on a 4 times 10 work schedule. I asked my manager how long I would be working the 6-week work schedule. My manager responded with, until our production standards are met. After hearing this horrid news, I came to the sudden realization that I had in-person college classes both Wednesdays and Thursdays. But because my manager is now making me work both Wednesdays and Thursdays, I will either have to miss school or work. Oh no! So I went to HR. I told HR my situation, how I have class Wednesdays and Thursdays, and so I wouldn't be able to do Mando days. HR responded with, okay, the best thing to do is to go to your supervisor, because your supervisor is the one responsible for creating and handling the schedules. I smiled for the first time ever at work, because this is the nicest thing my job has ever done for me. I go over to my supervisor and explain the situation to them. My supervisor said, okay, I'll have to ask my boss first. So I had to wait until the supervisor asked his boss. At the end of the day, I asked my supervisor about it again. My supervisor said, sorry, my boss said that you have to come into Mando days despite having school. That night I drove home hyperventilating. The next day I told HR how my supervisor was unable to take off Mando days for me. HR told me that maybe this job wouldn't work for me then. This saddened me. So in one desperate last attempt, I went not to my supervisor's boss, but my manager's boss. I went to my manager's boss and explained the situation. My manager's boss said, sorry, can't help you. You have to come into Mando days no matter what. We told you that during the interview, and if everyone has to, then you do too. But they never told me about this in the interview. And for proof, I asked all of my co-workers if they were alerted about Mando days in the interview, and they all said no, not at all. All my co-workers said that they were never told, and that it came as a complete surprise to them as well. After this, I quit. Now I was jobless and paying rent, so I applied to 12 jobs a day. Finally I got an interview. I went to the interview and got there 1 hour early because I was desperate. During the interview I told them that I was looking for 25 to 30 hours a week. This is because I have to pay for both rent and school while at the same time work. They told me, don't worry, you'll get your 25 to 30 hours a week here as you work full shifts. I also told them how I have class on Wednesdays and Thursdays, and they said, don't worry, we'll accommodate for your school schedule. This made me happy for the first time in months. I became even more happy when they gave me the job offer. Yay! Now I can actually work, pay rent, and go to school. However, after working there for 3 months, they started giving me only 8 hours a week. 8 a week. I literally only worked 2 days a week, and they were only 4-hour shifts too, because they were making me work only 8 hours a week. I had to use my savings to pay rent. On top of this, my roommate got fired from his job, and so now I have to pay for extra in rent because of this. In fact, as I sit here writing this song in my room, my roommate still doesn't have a new job, and I am still paying extra in rent with all of my savings because of this. Also, in my new job, I am only making $16 an hour. $16 an hour while working only 8 hours a week, man. It's like the universe is trying to make it impossible to work and go to school. So I desperately looked for a new job, once again while crying my eyeballs out. After 3 months of searching, literally 3 months, I finally got an interview. But I interviewed for the job literally right before I was going to move. I planned to move in 2.5 months, but I still interviewed for them and still took the job because I am desperate, man.